in the objective fights, he was bodyguarding so well, just playing that Poppy incredibly well. Again, you see a team that everyone knows their strategies, know their roles. Good things happen. Champion select on your screen right now. That means I'm going to get out of the way and leave it to you two.
As they see already in the draft, Robo and Croc not going to get Poppy this particular game. Gwen banned away from Gigo here as well. Really good stuff so far, taking these champions out and not letting these power picks get through. I'm expecting first pick on red side to be Aphelios. Not sure what to expect from VKS.
No Iron ban? No, man, the disrespect's coming out of Loud here. Not willing to take that piece away, but I do love that they did take the Poppy out of Loud's hands for VKS. It looked very good for him, and we're back to the first pick, LeBlanc. Now,
back to LeBlanc.
It's done a lot of damage, but I can't say that LeBlanc has actually had a lot of success so far in the CBLOL.
No, it hasn't. It's looked good in some games, but it just hasn't converted on the wins either, and I think that's the biggest thing for me, is if it doesn't win through the end of the game, it's not worth very much to my mind. And the Aphelios locked in here, of course. Maokai going to follow that up as well for Croc. A little bit more stable of a pick there for him. Love the Kindred tech. I think Kindred is so solid. Doing this double marksman thing is incredible.
I'm glad to see Grell pick it up once again. We've had a couple of our junglers pick this kind of carry option up. We've had Aegis, we've had Goot. A couple of these players are willing to go into that carry role, and Grell has always been a player that we have had earmarked as someone who can fulfill that role on a team as well. We've always said it so many times. They live and die by this player, and now they very literally do. He is now playing the embodiment of death in Universe, and he is going to have those ults. He's going to have to time them well to keep his team alive and dish out the damage himself. As Renekton is locked up for the top lane for Gigo, so he's still on that Bruiser train. He's still looking to do some damage, and he's been paired up against the Cassante for Robo, and given that Robo has been having a very much less than stellar start to the split, I don't feel too bad about giving him something relatively safe to pick, but it's also a champion that's not super successful in the region, so who knows?
Yeah, and I agree with that characterization. Kind of like, oh man, we're not expecting good things from Robo, and we're definitely not expecting good things from Cassante, so, you know, how are we expecting a positive result from pairing the two of them? Yeah, I agree with that completely. I don't think it's going to work at all, but Rel banned away here. Not going to be used by damage, and expecting some more bot lane bans coming through as well. I think we take away probably the Zeri here, right?
Yeah, I think that Trigo on the Zeri could be an option for sure. He has shown a bit more proficiency on those scalers. We saw Kai'Sa from him yesterday that actually looked damn good. It was very nice surprise for me to see Trigo performing on a playmaking AD carry. This is not normally the archetype that I would associate with him, as Loud instead opt for the Varus ban. They did, of course, get their hands on the Aphelios. Root happy to go back to his bread and butter, and we'll see what BKS has in store down in the bot lane.
Yeah, it's could be anything, right? We saw Lucian in game one. That could be an option for them potentially. We haven't seen Jinx in a while. Could be another thing potentially they pick up. That Ahri banned away, not going to be available for Tinons, who's really like the Ahri so far. That wouldn't be a good pickup for him.
Yeah, the Tinons Ahri has been absolutely sensational thus far. I think it has earned itself a ban. That has been the champion that he has been kind of putting Loud on his back with this pick, despite their rough start to the split. We'll see if he wants to continue going on to the enablers. Things like the Annie have been removed as well. The Gragas is available, but CBLOL in general definitely seems to have soured on this pick. He's got a Cassio hovered over right now. The lock-in is there, so going to be a bit more damage heavy coming out of here, but still plenty of CC to enable in the fight with the W and the ult.
Really like the Cassio pick. I think that's a lot of fun. Early Renekton pick as well. I think that's pretty fun too. Not sure if we have a Renekton game yet in the CBLOL. But,
we haven't really had a massive one. Like, Lonely had a good Renekton game, but we haven't seen, like, the Robo, Prowler's Claw into 1v5ing fights yet. We've not seen that yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Exactly.
Zyricon get a locked in 4 and 5. That's a pretty good bot lane to get locked in so late in the draft. I'm surprised both of those pieces made it this far. Yumi's going to get hovered. See if they get locked in. Oh, I'd love the Thresh. Thresh should be great.
I would love the Thresh. Yeah, Seos, like, I love Seos. He's a very versatile player, of course. Can do the enchanters, can do the engagers, can do it all. I hope we're not going to get the Yuumi, but I honestly, I feel like it might be a really good idea when you have Aphelios here, but it is the Thresh. Nice.
Lock it in. Yeah, I think that's our first Thresh game of the split. I'll go ahead and call that one. Aphelios Thresh is a great lane. Lots of utility, and you're able to move the Aphelios around as well. It's some much-needed safety for the Aphelios, too, to be able to get out of hairy situations. And will come in handy into this comp that features a lot of damage to marksman, of course. Also the assassin mid lane. You're going to want as much shielding and mobility on this Aphelios as you can get, and that's what the Thresh brings to the table.
I'm liking this bot lane, really. The Zyra Khan versus Aphelios Thresh. We've gone back a few main patches to pull this one out of the history books, and this can be a very skill-intensive lane, right? 4x4, if we pull you back in to give you a read on this one, are there any other lanes particularly? Where do you think the fireworks are going to come for us here in this match?
I mean, you can't talk fireworks unless you want to talk about Grell on a hard carry. This Kindred is going to be spicy. Now, this composition, it's going to want to get going early, right? It is a lot of damage. It is high octane, but if the game gets into the later stages, Cassio Aphelios into that composition, oh my goodness. So you have two very clear identities here, where you want to do early for DKS and where you want to do late for Loud. But if that gets to the late game, yeah, I'm a big fan of Loud Draft, and I love that Thresh pickup into this composition. If you couldn't take the Poppy against a composition with so many dashes and so much go forward and engage, grab the Thresh.
Yeah, the Poppy's certainly a very reasonable early ban now that we see the comp they have put together, and we saw Croc completely ruin the days of a whole team with the Poppy before. So I'm going to be watching the LeBlanc personally to see if we can finally get some success out of this pick. And obviously Gigo on the Renekton looking to try and go toe-to-toe with our quintessential Renekton player in Robo, whereas Gigo is currently having a massive start to the split. Robo very much the opposite. So I want to watch on both those solo lanes, really. Going to be very close. And of course the bot lane with Thresh versus Rakan going to be exciting. All across the map, Axeman. We've got potential action as we get into game 3.
Oh yeah, and I couldn't be more excited to get into it with you, Trajan. It's going to be fun. It was always going to be volatile. We went into this one, we were talking in the prep meeting, hey, what's going to happen? Trajan kind of stopped for a second and was like, Axe, I don't know. I don't know either, man. So we're going to find out together, you and I, viewers at home, and Trajan as well. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one regardless. 5 point to start things off, a little slow start at the top of this one. Both sides, lots of really good scaling options, so expect like a 13-minute first blood or something like that, but this is going to be really exciting in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Grell and Croc can assuage the 13-minute first blood despite the Maokai versus Kindred matchup. You know, I was feeling a little bit down in the dumps, honestly, coming into this week, because I thought I'd love to see Grell versus Croc on any other day of the week, you know what I mean? These should be our two most impactful, high-octane, all-or-nothing junglers, but coming into this week, they both just looked kind of bad, and I was like, man, we're going to miss out on this excellent matchup, but they've both recovered just in time for this game, both having a recovery game yesterday, and now they look like they could be back to peak form. They could give us the matchup that I dreamed of.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we just saw a big Maokai game last game as well. And I think that's a hopeful sign for Croc here, that he can do big things on the Maokai, have a big damage showing, because we do see those Maokais with big damage from time to time. And I think Croc could do well in that scenario.
Level 1, Flay from Seos, stepping up aggressively as well. Full control of the wave for this Aphelios Thresh. We're seeing the impact that it can have as Grell is over into that Dragon Pit. Let's see where he wants to go here. Looks like he's going for the invade, not the gank. Yeah,
you go for the invade here with the Kindred. You have really nice escape tools, but also...
Oh, no shot. Robo, no. No, no, no. Not like this. One tap away from death. And he escapes being first blood at level 1 as a hook lands onto damage. A lovely play as well, keeps him in range. Burning down the last auto from Seos with the first blood on Thresh.
Beautiful stuff. This is why we love it, man. There's so much utility built into this Thresh, baked right into the kit. That gets the first blood down for Loud. Really good stuff. It was a near thing. Guigo almost got first blood himself on Robo up top side. It was so close. I honestly couldn't believe it, except that it's Robo Casanti. And yeah, I could probably be made to believe that.
You're multiplying two negative numbers here. It's not creating a positive though. That's for sure. It's creating an almost got first blooded at level 1.
It's not going up in my head at all. The CS numbers are starting to reflect that as well. But yeah, Root, Seos, they're starting to look a little bit more like the team that we sent to MSI, which is a good look in my book, man. Finally, we're getting to see a little bit of Loud.
Yeah, we were all waiting. Everyone was just wondering, placing bets. When does Loud show up? Is it week 3, week 4? Is it the week before playoffs? When does the Loud that is a back-to-back defending champion enter our screens? We could be seeing a little bit more of that now. They're off 2 back-to-back wins, 1 week in this week already, looking to make it the 3-for-3 record and trying to stop VKS, who are just trying to get their feet back under them after a rough week number 2. And for me, I'm going to be watching Grell from VKS to see if he can be the spearhead there. He needs some time to scale, some time to get some marks, but he could be a terror later.
Absolutely could be. Like to get started on that early here, too, next couple minutes. Little turret shot onto Guigo. Nice play from Robo, nice trade. The CS starts to stabilize a little bit as he gets level 4.
Those biscuits as well, keep him topped up. Guigo, of course, a past champion in himself, and someone who's had his ups and downs. Not quite as pronounced as Robo, we could maybe say, but right now he is certainly firing all cylinders, trying to be a carry out of that top lane. This Renekton could be devastating if he gets onto that backline, but as we pan over to the mid lane, Tino's managing the LeBlanc pretty well so far, with even the tier start. You know, he's got no AP to work with, but still winning out on the trades. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Kraken, he's looking for the mark. Yeah, Tino's going to be able to rotate over. Grevthar's here too, though.
Croc commits. Tino's with the health advantage, but you see Guigo coming down first, moving from top lane. Grell does not find it, though. It's a red scuttle, so Croc's achieved his goal, but Tino's flashing in. Looks for the Twin Fang, but doesn't quite have the damage. Now Robo's rotated down. Guigo shoved the back by Robo, and Grevthar, just with so little damage, finds the kill, though, onto Croc. Trades his life for the jungler, but they did critically deny that mark from the Kindred.
Yeah, they deny the mark from the Kindred. I'm not sure if Grell actually gets the mark off of Croc. Might have gotten it.
Backup.
I think he might have gotten that one. He certainly got the takedown on the Croc, so I think he would get the mark, but not 100%. That indicator is not on screen for us, folks. So, Sis and Root still shoving waves in this bot side here. And both sides will have to contend with the consequences of that top side play. It's just more gold stacked onto the top side of the map for Loud as they get stronger and stronger here. Reset's going to come through for both bot lanes, and I'm expecting a dragon play up here in a little bit.
100%. As a fan of flashing lights and jingling keys myself, I do like that both teams just seem really willing to fight over absolutely anything. They were flashing in top lane, in bot lane, they were fighting, and there were 4 people from either side almost committed up to that top lane scuttle. Everyone was piling in for it, and I don't think the dragon will be any different. We could see there for a second that Grell did get 1 stack, so he must have had the mark onto Croc. So he got 1, but didn't get 2. And remember, he wants to get to that all-important 4 level where you get that bit of range boost and you start being able to really play with that marksman energy in the fights.
Exactly, right? You start getting a little bit more of the marksman stuff going on. As we go past level 6, we'll get even more of it.
Oh, committing, looking for round 2 on the solo kill, takes a quick tower shot, and again, Robo just about squeaks his way to safety as we got a dragon fight potentially brewing around this ocean. Xayah taking the long way around Trigo to rejoin the team. Xayah, a pick that Trigo has always performed on in the playoffs. And Sales splashes in, gets on top of the jungler. Both teams piling in, and the kills are going back left and right, but it's support for jungle. Grell's already down. The Kindred was only level 5. Didn't have the Lamb's Respite to keep himself up.
Unfortunate result there for Grell, but the rest, VKS should be just fine. Little teleport out of the way for Grevthar. He's going to be just fine. Everyone makes it out. Now 2 kills onto 10 ounce. And suddenly the Cassiopeia is starting to look a little bit scary here, Trajan. They take down this dragon. Look at this lantern from Seos. This is interesting. Flash, lantern, Croc's in. Maokai's stacked in deep. They're going to pick Seos, get the damage down to him, but damage just a little bit too slippery. Grevthar, of course, having to teleport out.
Yeah, that was surgical onto Grell's Kindred there. The hook into the Maokai with the Petrifying Gaze as well. Hard CC chain, no ult to save him. And I like that you mentioned that Tino's the benefactor of both of those kills. This is the guy who has been carrying Loud out of this slump. He's got a scaling champion now with early gold. He is well set up to be, once again, that 1v9 influence that Loud have needed. And alongside Root on the ever-present Aphelios, they could be set up for success here. The only lane not going so right is top lane, but another engage on bot side. Croc coming in with the Nature's Wrath. Grell already finds himself a kill onto the Thresh. Croc wants a little bit more, though. Gets a fair bit of damage down onto damage the bot lane support. for VKS, and Grell now chasing down the jungler, Tino, and seeing if he wants to move. Root looking for an angle on the side, doesn't have red and white anymore, but he's got that Calibrum range to play with. Poking down into Trigo, Croc goes low, Grell finds the killing spree as damage is left in the lurch. Lara's Respite is out, will top them up, and they will step back to the jungle. I just can't split these two teams, Axeman. These fights are so close.
Now, the fights are really close, right? Back and forth, the trades go, and some members willing to... Okay, Guigo takes a turret shot there.
Oh, again, Dominus. This top lane, as soon as we're trying to string some points together, top lane goes, all right, we're going to fight to the death now.
It's time to fight to the death, and we're going to use both of our ultimates in combination, and we're going to fight back and forth. I don't think Robo has a case here, I'll be honest.
Guigo finds it after the flash, after all that, Axeman. Finally, Guigo finds his man.
I'm adding the numbers up, and I'm sure Guigo was too, and just thinking, wait, this guy's got nothing.
Yeah.
He's just,
What's he up to?
He just dashes a sword and kills him with a couple of abilities, and that's all he really needs. Yeah, no, Robo's been down like 50 CS for the last 3 minutes. While he's been getting out of these 1v1s, he's not been excelling in them. Finally, Guigo catches him just a little bit too far outside the turret, and that's all the room he needs to take down the K'Sante. Once again, Trajan, you can't convince me this is a champion that's worth playing.
No, it's at least within the bounds of the CBLOL. It just doesn't work, man. There's at some point the sheer weight of results will have to start paying in for something. This Croc is so deep, and he finds the Herald. A suicide mission into the river, walks out with the objective, and is that worth? Is that good? I'm not sure.
Yes, I say it's worth.
We're saying yes.
We're saying yes. Croc gets the Rift Herald. He'll be able to convert that into a little bit of gold for his team. Fortunately, for the time being, VKS does have a little bit of an advantage in the gold department there. So maybe they'll be able to leverage that into more. Let's see how they play. Seos sitting deep, looking for someone to walk by. Might find damage out here, but damage is a lot of escapes. So that's
looking at the scoreboard down at the bottom here, it very much is top side versus bot side. VKS with the jungle top side fed and smashing their counterparts, whereas Loud, both their mid and bot lane carry set up for success. Seos is on point with the Thresh right here. We could have a little experiment to see which lanes are stronger. Now Croc once again returning to the bot side. He does have Nature's Wrath, but Grell is ready with Lamb's Respite, I think. So the dive is a pretty tall order.
It really is, and they're just Croc still has the Rift Herald, right? Yeah, it's just like resetting or something. Yeah, okay. So they're definitely trying to drop that on him, but no, not given the window, I guess. We're back up the top side, where once again Mortal Kombat has broken out between the two top laners.
Always under tower, man.
Just always under tower. Guigo's always pressuring him a little bit. Keep in mind, Robo picked the K'Sante into the Renekton, right? I'm not wrong about that?
Yes, the Renekton was
third pick, right?
I think. Yeah, I think they had it. And then K'Sante was the last pick in the first rotation.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just missing something.
You wanted this.
I'm all about stats. You know, I love the stats. At some point, I think heuristics come into play. You just got to say this isn't going to win the game, man.
Yeah, I'm just at some point, I've got to do my own research, you know what I mean? And just, I trust my eyes. And, you know, the Earth is flat and K'Sante's bad. So I think that it's just not working for them up there. And this is, for me, it's great to see Guigo making an impact on the Renekton. I was talking to someone backstage yesterday that was just saying, like, when I see Renekton get picked, I feel so bad when it doesn't get anything done in lane. It just feels so weak if it doesn't have a lead to play with. And Guigo absolutely does. He's got a massive lead to play with. As the Herald is dropped into mid lane by Croc.
Elevating gold down there for him. They will not turn that into the dragon directly. Instead, content to sit in the river a little bit, try to bait VKS into them. They do control this part of the map, though, so the dragon should go down fairly easily, perhaps even uncontested. Yeah, I don't think there's any way Grell gets in here. Yeah, Grell's all the way up in the top lane, so yeah, it doesn't
he ain't making it. If he wants to go full tilt running down bot lane, but he's got a top lane dive on the cards. Grell goes down to the execute, though. Doesn't use the ultimate, but doesn't give gold away either.
Yep, doesn't give the gold away. He got executed? Yikes. Yep. That's tough. That tower's going to go down as well, as Gigo is now the biggest thing on the Rift, I would think. Yeah, he's got the most CS, and he's huge. It's a big croc. It's going to be a big pair of boots if you could take him down.
Biggest croc on this Rift, including Loud's jungler, who is 0-3 right now. The Maokai is getting some work done, and I do personally have a lot of faith in Croc's Maokai. I think this is kind of low-key, one of his best picks, despite the fact that it's not kind of a Lee Sin-esque, Vi-esque high mobility engager. I just think he looks really well sorted on this champion. Now, this has not been his game so far, but the Maokai is always useful, such as the beauty of that ultimate of the saplings.
Yeah, you get some inherent utility built into the kit with the big team fight ultimate. Some junglers don't have that. A lot of the more successful ones do. The Kindred ultimate, the Wukong ultimate.
Yeah.
It's a couple that come to mind. And you could be truly useless and Lamb's Respite will still save your team.
Yeah. You need a big circle. Some sort of big circle ultimate, then you're probably a good champion. You know, Jarvan, you say Kindred, Wukong,
a Moo.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Moo. If there's not a big circle, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you're playing this champion for, so...
Yeah, don't play Rumble. That doesn't make sense.
That's a line. It's just not
It's
right.
a line. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. Tenons is on thin ice with kind of like part of a circle.
Yeah.
I think
got like
you got to work a little
wedge.
harder for that one.
Yeah, we'll give him half a point maybe for that. We'll give him a chance, but we will not commit just yet to saying this champion is good. As once again, we've seen these 3 champions, or 6 champions basically, all just hanging around this bot lane so many times this game, but it never really seems to come anything. Croc just heads down, Grail's already there waiting, and he has to back off.
Yeah, and if you're on these champions, you're not losing by letting the game go longer, right? Like Xayah and Aphelios would love this game to go longer. They'd also love to be able to kill the other side, but so things are kind of caught in this situation where they're always in a position where they could pull the trigger, but also always the guy that's got the finger on the trigger saying, you know, we could just wait. We don't have to. Yeah. We can just hold out a little bit. So they kind of stand there with pointed at each other, and
yeah.
No one's going to move.
A little bit of a standoff there as Guigo again pushing quite deep up into this top side. Still bullying the heck out of Robo, but no one's will be able to stop that. And again, Grell is there ready and waiting for Croc on this gank. He's been tracking the Maokai so well, but Sails and Root making their way up. This could become a 2v4 very quickly, and Grell flashes away, but closer to the enemy team. This is going to be a 2v5 before you know it. Pretty rough stuff for the VKS jungler. The Lamb's Spike keeps him alive for now. Can he take anyone with him? He's the first to go down for Robo, and Gigo now on the wrong side of town flashes away. Just the 1 for 0 for Loud. The rotations are there, and they'll punish Grell.
Gigo really made it out of that situation. It's pretty absurd to me. I didn't expect that whatsoever. Grell does go down, which I fully expected in that 2v5 scenario. But the Croc made it out, does not get shut down. Really good stuff from VKS to make it out of that situation. They don't give up too much whatsoever. And critically, the Rift Herald is also still on the map. They can potentially look for that in the next few minutes.
Loud happy enough to get a bit of gold into Robo's pocket, get him out of that deficit that he's in. Gigo starting up that Herald. Grell will not be there just yet. Robo's aware of what's going on, but nothing that Loud can do about it. So a bit more gold to be picked up VKS. See if they can crack some more of these towers to start this objective lead growing. They are over about 2.5k in the lead right now, down in the Drakes, but still very much in control of this game right now, just playing off that immense power that they're building in the jungle, and then Gigo in the top lane. Once he leaves that lane, he's going to start doing some real damage in fights.
He really will, and just that goes for the rest of the comp too, right? I mean, there's so much damage built in this composition with the double Marston, with LeBlanc having the static shiv completed now. This whole comp deals so much ungodly amounts of damage, and there's not really enough front line to contend with that on Loud. Croc's not building like enough tank items. No one on Loud is building tank items and has the goal to be able to contend with the amount of damage it's coming.
Yeah, their frontliners are their weakest, cheapest members, sadly. And the Herald doesn't make it into the tower. The pay is denied, unfortunately, for VKS, but they will have the inside track to the bot side river to set up for this incoming Drake. They don't want to give away the Mountain Soul point. And I like that you touched on Greftar's LeBlanc as well with the damage. We haven't seen too much out of him. 1-1 and 2, doing a fine job thus far. And I would be very impressed if we can finally see the static shiv LeBlanc have real impact after going from Ivern yesterday, as now the hook lands, the engage is called, and Gigo's soaking up so much time, but he's still caught out. BKS can't save him, it's just a shutdown, and now Loud have the 5v4.
BKS lose a lot of their gold with Vigo going down. Whether they can fight anymore, I don't think they necessarily here. They might just have to concede this dragon to Loud and work for those mid lane waves instead. Gigo, very, very strong. Just got picked at the top, taken out right at the top of the fight.
Seos with another beautiful hook to begin that chain of events. Tinones is going to hold on to mid lane turret as well. Loud, they get everything. Shut down on top, hold the mid tower, plus the objective. Mountain Sword point for them. More gold in Tinone's pocket. He is still scaling up. He's about to complete that second item, I dare say. There's the Seraphs, and this Cassio is going to be a menace later on.
Seriously, and Cassio's going to be able to tear apart Vigo all game long too, right?
Yeah.
Tinones continues to scale up. Vigo's never going to get really that much bigger than he will at like 20, 22 minutes. After that, it's kind of downhill for the Renekton. And with the sustained damage that Cassio brings to the table, we'll be able to tear apart those big health bars. So, yeah, it's not looking good for VKS coming out of this game, which is, not great for my predictions. I'll go ahead and say I'm a big VKS supporter. And, yeah, it's not looking super good for them. They do have a little bit of a gold lead, though. I don't want to count them out yet.
Yeah, this is the game that we had the most trouble trying to analyze and think about. Both of these teams are somewhat unanalyzable just in their very nature, the way we never know when Loud is suddenly going to turn it on. BKS, they're either great or they're having a disaster. There's not really a middle ground, and right here we seem to have found our first kind of mid-performance for them, or maybe just going up against Loud, who are finally showing their championship form. Even BKS, trying to get it done, putting their most effort in, are expected to struggle against such a strong team, as the gold still in their favor, as you say, Axeman, but the lead has started to shrink.
Loud kind of content to play around Baron here. That next dragon for them still a long way out, so they'll be playing around the top side for the time being. You do have teleports available for Tino, so you'll send your Cassiopeia down bot lane to continue scaling up. Gigo has no kill threat on Cassiopeia, so you're totally fine leaving them down there with the Crocodile. Meanwhile, everybody else set up top, set up those vision lines, make sure you're controlling the area so you can threaten Baron consistently until this dragon comes up and you can secure Dragon Soul.
Yeah, it seems like they've got the formula pretty well worked out. They can wait for the objective, set up, wait for Sales, throw out the hooks, use Tinone's Miasma to zone away, make themselves a little path towards the objective, and then kind of let VKS trip over themselves so far. They've been falling over their own feet. You can see that gold lead that grew up to almost the 3,000 mark for BKS has been chipped away at. Loud almost back in control of this game with the Aphelios and the Cassio scaling up, feeling very comfortable into, again, a little bit of an off-the-wall draft from BKS. The LeBlanc Static Shiv, the Kindred coming in, no real frontline. It's a lot of strong individual picks in this meta, but right now, the straight up front to back for Loud is just doing the work.
Night Harvester feels like a pretty big spike here for Grevthar. Perhaps a little bit more damage coming out from LeBlanc now that item is completed. And we're hoping for big things from the LeBlanc. It's good internationally, right? It was seriously good on last patch, so we're looking for some of that power to fall to VKS. We're just not seeing it yet, I don't think. We haven't seen it in the CBLOL for anyone who's drafted this champion and built this item. Just a minute 45 left till that next dragon. Sorry, Trey, you can go ahead.
Just a couple of those champions that just don't work here, right? It's the same with Cassante, as Loud have dropped the Maokai ultimate just to zone away from the tower. I don't imagine they'll find anything more. Respect will be given, but yeah, just the Cassante and the LeBlanc, just a couple of the champions, and the Kazakhs as well, right, that just don't work here. Just kind of don't function on the Brazilian realm somehow. And it's very interesting to see these very specific picks that we just can't really get our heads around.
For sure, and it's not a mechanical thing. I mean, we see mechanical champions work in the CBLOL all the time. We saw a great Azir today from House. We saw really good Zeri play from Brunsey and Titan all the time. So yeah, it's not a mechanical issue. There's just some kind of X factor CBLOL diff where some champions just don't work in Brazil, and that is okay.
Yeah, we're just giving ourselves we're actually just not going to use the best champions. We're just going to learn to play the second best champions just to make sure it's harder for us. As Root is going to walk slap bang into Gigo face first with the crocodile, trying to get himself out of it. And can the sail slide to get to safety, and the hook and the box, and this Thresh is so valuable today.
Oh yeah, that's the Thresh diff right there. And just like we were saying, once you get past that 22-minute mark, it gets kind of doomed for Gigo. As we see here, he gets 5 minutes alone with the enemy AD carry, and nothing happens. Root just kind of walks out. It's not good whatsoever, and it's not going to get better.
Oh, full commit right here. They're trying to catch out damage, and Croc, in fact, caught on the wrong side of town, traded for the support. 1 for 1 right now, and Tinone's looking for more. Feeling powered up, but BKS Grefthar on the flank. Gigo as well. Tries to find the stun. Robo gets back to safety. Both of these 4-man squads positioning around each other. Someone looking for an opening, looking for an angle. But without the Maokai to engage, and without the Rakan on the other side, kind of tough to get something started.
I would have to agree with that. Difficult to start these fights off. Robo looking for an angle to ult somebody through a wall. Taking Gigo out of commission would be good for them. A good start to a fight.
Robo. Where are we going? My man on the wrong side of the wall gets stunned up, and there's the damage coming in the DPS, and Flash from Grell is enough. Cassante will still walk away. How he got away with that one, I will never know. But the Mountain Dragon is there, and BKS should have earned themselves this one.
BKS pull that Dragon Soul away from Loud. Loud aren't able to control that side of the map. Unfortunately, they waited too long. They didn't pressure Baron enough. And now they will give up this objective. They'll walk over to Baron now. A little sheepishly, I think. And BKS will try to respond.
Tinone's not working on it. The damage is not super fast. Now the DPS is going to come down. BKS trying to enter the river. A TP behind from Gigo could be massive. Maokai ult to slow down Grefthar. Down goes the Baron, secured by Croc. Now can they get out cleanly? Grefthar looking for more. Croc flashes in, but doesn't get a range for the W. Grefthar just sorts back to safety, and damage looks for an angle, but there's just not an opening. Loud will walk away clean with the Baron buff.
They'll get it basically for free here, Trajan. Just giving that Dragon over was the only thing they needed to do. And they'll use this to get a larger gold lead, right? Try to start extending the gap between the two teams and creating that gap between them. Trying to force those advantage further into the game as they continue to scale up.
Scaling they certainly are. 3 items completed on Tinone's, 2 for Root. You should be nearing that 3rd one before too long, I imagine. Robo, despite the trials and tribulations in lane, has now heading towards his 3rd item. We saw how tanky he is. Even though Grell flashed in with a Triforce and a Kraken Slayer, he couldn't burn down that Cassante. BKS's options are thinning now at this point in the game. They are still, somehow, in control of a gold lead, despite losing the Baron. But it doesn't feel like it.
No, and it didn't feel like they were in the control of the map either, and then they got that Mountain Dragon, so I guess they just know something we don't, Trajan. Grefthar is on a champion that gets picked in the side lanes a lot in the CBLOL, so